Hello and welcome to My Security TV and our Tech and Sec Weekly. My name is Chris Cubbage. I'm the Executive Editor with My Security Media, and today we're joined by our media partner, the biggest show here in Australia, Security Expo 2022. We're going to be joined by Soren Norgaard, the Commercial Manager with Integrate and Security Exhibition and Conference. It's a new era of security, and it's great to be welcoming this back as a physical event. So without further ado, let's be joined by Soren Norgaard.
Thank you, Chris. Pleased to be here.
Great. Commercial manager, you don't have much of a responsibility on this one. It's a pretty big show, and you've got a lot on your shoulders, I take it, on the number of exhibitions and the like that you have. Maybe introduce us to the show and what we've got planned for. This is the 17th and 19th of August, so not too long to go.
Yep.
And yeah, just how the exhibition's going to look and a little bit about the conference as well.
Sure. Yeah, well, it's been a while since we've actually had the opportunity to deliver an in-person event. Not for the lack of trying.
We almost got there last year.
Almost. It was pretty close until we went into another lockdown, and just the logistics of, particularly with clients from interstate and what have you, the ambiguity around travel arrangements and potential lockdowns just made it very, very challenging. And in the end, we opted not to go with a physical event, but we did, as you may know, go with a virtual conference, which did, substitute in some ways, but certainly didn't replace a physical event.
Well, people are definitely looking forward to coming back. And as you say, the logistics might still have a play, but yeah, what's the show floor looking like? We look forward to being there in person as well, and we've got a number of events around that. But yeah, just so your key sponsors that might kind of outline, and you're also integrating Integrate show as well. So how are you putting this together?
Yeah, well, it was it's been in the making for about 3 years now. So we looked at the security industry and obviously the integration, or Integrate as it's called, the event, and there was a lot of synergies and crossovers between the two when it came to products that sat as crossover. A lot of the technology now is obviously networked, and the network security component. If you look at big ticket items like control rooms and monitoring, there's a lot of crossover between the two and complementary technology. So a lot of the panels and the monitors, etc., that would come from the AV side of things fit perfectly into that mix. And quite a lot of the suppliers are already supplying both these sectors. And if you then look at some of our big visitor groups, the big integrators and consultancies and what have you, they also operate in both these verticals, if you like. Not necessarily the same departments, but certainly same companies. Freedons and even some of the AV integrators also do a lot of installations when it comes to security. And the size of economy here in Australia is obviously dictates that you can't have a major trade show like you may see overseas, just because of the scale of economy here. So it was prudent of us to look at an option to co-locate, still keep these very industry-specific shows as standalone products, if you like, and we're not taking away from the industries because they're long-standing industry events. I mean, the Security Expo has now been going 36 years and Integrates on its 14th year. So, and they still have representation from those respective industries, and we don't want to detract from that, but they're just made sense to have them sitting side by side.
Have you seen a shift, over from, you talked about the advanced technologies, the control centers, the video systems are obviously probably leading out on these expo in terms of the CCTV industry and the video system industry. What about the physical security industry as well? Things like the locks and the barriers. Have you seen any change in them and their take? Because I imagine they're sort of coming back. We haven't had crowded places for a while. So business may well have been hard for those over the last few years. But Yeah, what any change in the way that the exhibition floor is laid out and the exhibitors due to market impact by COVID and the like?
I don't think there's a huge difference in the way it's laid out. We don't have it sectioned into specific sections when it comes
Yep,
to,
yep,
be it physical security or cameras
yep,
or biometrics, what have you. It's really the complementary. There's an invisible border between the two events,
yep.
but you'll be
Okay,
able
yep,
to traverse between the two, and you will see some of the exhibitors that sort of operate in both spheres. Like, as an example, Intel have come on board. They're sitting on the integrate side of things, but they're very much interested in the security side of things, and they have a lot of partners that
yep,
use their processing capabilities. And the same with the likes of Dicker Data, which typically is an ICT distributor, but have increasingly had a role to play in AV. And as you may know, Chris, they
yep.
acquired Hill Security not that long ago. Now they're sitting on the security side of things. So there's definitely
Are
a
they?
lot of
You
crossover
could,
between the.
I imagine you might have needed an invisible barrier down the middle for
Mm,
all of those, because I think that's where what we're talking about is there's some real leaders in this advanced technologies,
yeah.
particularly on, say, CCTV, and we call it CCTV, but we're talking video surveillance systems
Hmm.
versus video systems. Much of the
Yes.
componentry is very similar, and the advances in video analytics and so the data science behind these systems is also growing. Hence why you do see the likes of Dicker Data moving into the security sector and seeing an opportunity there to grow. Just going back, what about? I noticed there's a startup center as well. There's
Hmm.
an area for that. Cybersecurity and the likes, and maybe even drones and robotics. Have you seen any sort of uptake there this year?
We got some quite interesting exhibitors that have come along. So there's a couple there that are bringing in robotics as surveillance. So be it a ground-based robot with biometrics and surveillance built into it, but also drone technology, which is autonomous drones that deploy. If there's a sensor that goes off in a warehouse or what have you, and you don't have
Yeah.
cameras that cover the whole spectrum, it will deploy a drone that sits in the ceiling, go and inspect, send the footage back to surveillance, and then once that mission's completed, it goes back to its docking station,
Yep.
and it's completely autonomous. So there's some really interesting technologies developing. But to answer your initial question around the physical security side of things, it's still very much part of the Security Expo, and your suppliers that you would have seen from years gone by are still, or most of them are still at the event this year.
Yep.
So it's certainly not being neglected just because we've got a focus on complementary technologies in AV and security.
Well, it's an opportunity, I think, for the industry to catch up after a while as well. We're starting to see physical events coming back, but expos and the like for the security sector has been very limited. So there is a real opportunity to join together in Sydney.
Mhm.
What are some of the key events that you got on, and also maybe the conference overview as well?
Yeah, sure. So the actual physical show is a 3-day show. So it starts at 9:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the afternoon on day 1 and 2, so 17th, 18th of August, and finishes an hour early on the Friday. So that's the physical showcase on the show floor, which is free to attend. You just got to register, and we're seeing really good uptake. And from what I hear from industry as well, there's really a lot of excitement around just coming back, not just to see the new technology, but as an industry coming back together. So that's what I'm really excited about. Is both these industries, respectively, have really not had a forum as such, certainly not on this scale, where they can come together and network. Um, and aside from that, we've still got our long-standing partnership with Azure. So the Security Azure conference is
Yep.
on the 17th and 18th. which is sitting in the conference center, not too far from the show floor. And we got a really interesting lineup this year, really good content. I would encourage anyone who might be interested to check out the securityexpo.com.au website to see what's on there in the conference. But we have some really interesting sessions around cybersecurity imperatives and challenges. We've got the blurring of physical and cybersecurity.
Yep.
Driving enterprise risk management to the next level. Managing the insider threat. There's case studies on Sydney local health district response to COVID-19 pandemic. We've got the future of the built environment and what it means for security. Standards to make the built environment better for all. So that's day one, and you know it's fairly extensive program. I'm not going to go through every single session through here.
No, don't. But definitely, I've just put it up on the link down the bottom. So securityexpo.com.au, and in our partnership with the Security Exhibition and Conference with Diversified, we've got a code there. So if you want to go to the conference via our channels, there's an opportunity for a 10% discount there. So thanks very much for that as well, Soren. And
then we not to forget, we've also got the gala dinner, which is the industry big networking event on the evening of the 18th, which again, you know, we'll have the new product awards associated with that. And then of course, Chris, you've got your event on there on the 17th in the evening as well.
That's right. We're doing a Security Consultants Series meetup at 5:30 as well in the Cockle Bay room at the ICC. So, and then there's networking drinks on the floor, on the exhibition floor. So really, there's no shortage of events and opportunities to catch up with friends and colleagues, right?
And aside from that, we also have a Tech Talks Theatre on the show floor, which has an extensive program as well. So that covers content across both AV and security. So we're pretty excited about that as well.
Great. I'm just looking on the website. Is there any virtual events? Are you staying with any virtual events or purely physical?
No, we've opted not to go down the virtual route this time around. We did obviously have extensive experience with that over the last 2 years, and our sort of feedback is I think a lot of people are fatigued by the virtual component. So yeah, they would prefer to come out in person. So you know, I'm not saying it may not be a component going forward, but certainly this year we're just focusing on the in-person.
Well, look, I was going to start to read out the sponsors, but you do have a number. Obviously, you've got your lead industry partner is ASIAL, the Australian Security Industry Association. Yep. Your headline sponsor is Axis Communications. Gold sponsor is Okta. And then you've got a host of other sort of sponsors as well. And that through to the gala dinner with MSS Security. And as we mentioned at the outset, we're always pleased to be media partners to this event. So I think, as we mentioned before, it is Security Expo. Let me just throw that up there so you know where to go. securityexpo.com.au. We've been joined by Soren Norgaard, the commercial manager, who's putting it all together with your team. Best of success for your Integrate and your security exhibition and conference here in Sydney in just a few weeks, Soren.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I look forward to catching up with you and many other people from the industry in just a few weeks' time. So we're only really 4 weeks out now, so it's coming around pretty quickly.
It's good. Countdown, a new era for security. Thanks, Soren. Appreciate you joining us.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.